What are you doing, Josh? Why are you standing in sand?
I'm practicing my lighter than air.
Ooh, let me get in there with you and practice mine, too.
Float. Float.
Man, that training session this morning was hard.
Yeah, it was really hard.
What's that about?
Guess I didn't dodge them all. Here we are with another episode of an hour feature presentation where we don't just love movies from the 80s and 90s.
We live them. I'm Kerry Williams. I also have a decorative tooth.
And I'm Josh Sanchez, and I dodged 3 out of the 6 bullets.
Not bad.
Cure, a secret organization, fakes the death of a New York City cop, gives him a new identity, and then has an Asian mentor train him to be a bullet-dodging super agent. And that next movie, of course, is Remo Williams.
Released on October 11th, 1985 with a budget of $40 million, it went on to earn $3.3 million in its opening weekend and grossed only $14.3 million, unfortunately.
That was pretty dismal.
They were hoping it was going to be a whole series, and that didn't make it.
It didn't make it. Orion Pictures, a studio run by former executives of United Artists, was open about their vision for the film, seeing it was the first in a series that would create a red, white, and blue collar Bond. They signed Ward to star in 3 movies in the Envision series.
For the Statue of Liberty scenes, a replica of the statue's torso, head, and arm was built in Mexico. The shots of the replica were intercut with footage shot at the real Statue of Liberty.
On a casting of the white actor Joel Grey, who went through 4.5 hours of makeup every day to look like an elderly Korean, producer Larry Spiegel claimed, "We assumed, of course, that we would be using an Asian actor. We couldn't find one, and then thought of Grey. This casting was highly controversial." Yep.
The movie was nominated in 1986 for a Best Performance by an Actor in Supporting Role in a Motion Picture Golden Globe for Joel Grey, who had earlier won both an Oscar and a Golden Globe in the same category for Cabaret in 1972, but lost out this time to Klaus Maria Brandauer for Out of Africa in 1985.
Mm-hmm. The film was nominated for Academy Award for Best Makeup at the 58th Academy Awards, but lost to Mask. That's crazy.
Bruce Willis, a young unknown at the time, was considered for the title role of Remo Williams. Ed Harris was also considered.
It's crazy. First of 2 Remo Williams movies, with the second being made for television and first broadcast around 3 years after the picture. So Remo Williams, A Prophecy, 1988.
The movie was inspired by the James Bond film franchise. The character of Major Raymer Fleming, portrayed by Kate Mulgrew, has the same name as James Bond creator Ian Fleming. Moreover, the film's screenplay was penned by a Bond series screenwriter, Christopher Wood, The Spy Who Loved Me in 1977, Moonraker in 1979, and directed by a Bond film director, Guy Hamilton, Goldfinger in 1964, Diamonds Are Forever in 1971, Live and Let Die in 1973, and The Man with the Golden Gun in 1974.
Released in some countries as Remo Unarmed and Dangerous or Remo Williams Unarmed and Dangerous, after plans for a sequel were scrapped shortly after its U.S. release.
The soundtrack has some songs of note, which is one of them being Remo's theme, What If, by Tommy Shaw. We also have Janet by the Commodores, and Ariang, sung by Joel Grey and created by Craig Stefan.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the cast. Okay, first, of course, we have Fred Ward, who plays Remo Williams himself, and he's from Escape from Alcatraz, The Right Stuff, Swing Shift, Big Business, of course, Tremors. Oh my gosh, Bob Roberts, Naked Gun, 33 1/3, Tremors 2, and Chain Reaction.
We also have Joel Grey, who plays Chun. He's been in Kafka and The Player.
And then we have, of course, Wilford Brimley, who plays Harold Smith, and he also was in The Thing, The Natural, Cocoon, Ewoks Battle for Endor, Cocoon, The Return, The Firm, Hard Target, In and Out.
We have J.A. Preston, Con McCleary, is also in Captain Ron, A Few Good Men, Contact, and Air Force One.
And then we have George Coe, who plays General Scott Watson, who was in Kramer vs. Kramer, Blind Date, The Mighty Ducks, and an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
We have Charles Ciaffi, who plays George Grove, and he's also in All the Right Moves and Newsies.
And then, of course, we have Kate Mulgrew, who plays Major Raynor Fleming. She's Throw Mama from the Train, a Star Trek Voyager TV show, Orange is the New Black. And it's, yeah, there she is. She's phenomenal.
We have Patrick Kilpatrick, who plays Stone, and he's also in The Toxic Avenger, Ruskies,
Class of 1999. Oh, such a good one.
Death Warrant, Best of the Best 2, The Stand,
such a great movie.
Three Ninjas Knuckle Up, Beastmaster 3, and Eraser.
And then we have Michael Pataki, who plays Jim Wilson. He's in Night Shift. And Rocky 4. And, of course, we have some cameos of note.
We have Reginald Bell Johnson as the ambulance driver.
Yep, there he is right there. And then, of course, we have the William Hickey, who plays the carnival bottle worker. He's in My Blue Heaven and Christmas Vacation. They wanted to say Grace, the blessing. And then you could hear a dump truck drive through a nitroglycerin plant.
He's so great.
He's so great. Now let's talk about the press kit.
All right, so we have a cool blue one this time.
It's really cool.
Just like in a couple of the previous episodes, this is one of the ones we couldn't obtain the actual folder one, and so we've recreated it to look similar to what the real one looks like. It's got the red on blue logo on the folder, and we have some images to show off. We have Remo with his compatriots from Cure here.
The Cure group, the three of the guys from Cure.
We have Joel Grey and Fred Ward at the
carnival,
the fair in front of the Ferris wheel there. We have Remo and threatening Stone in the cars. He's choke holding him basically.
You better stop karateing that guy right now. That's what
goodness.
the police officer, she says.
We have Remo when he first meets Chun as he's sent to attack him or assassinate him,
your
basically.
boss.
Oh my goodness. We have Remo after he wakes up from the car incident. Mm-hmm. We have another one of Remo and Chun here. Here's Chun giving Remo a little pinch. What's that?
Paralyzes him.
Breathe. We have the side-by-side of the actor in and out of makeup.
Joel Grey, and there he is as Chun. Amazing.
Here's a shot of Fred Ward as Remo. We have Remo training with Chun right here. Another one of Chun with the finger.
The fingerboard. How do I hang it? And he puts a hole right through it.
Another still of Chun. We have Remo scaling the Statue of Liberty. We have a production shot here of the director Guy Hamilton on the New York location. We have a pretty cool action shot of whenever Remo is climbing around the scaffolding of the Statue of Liberty. And we have, last but not least, one with Kate Mulgrew and Fred Ward posed together.
Yep, that's after the escape from the test site. Awesome. Yeah, nice little folder.
Yeah.
All right, some scenes that stuck out. Oh, I love the music in this. It's a thing for me. It really is a thing for me. It's like when because there's like a little bit of a pad, and there's kind of like an Asian theme that's like intertwined with the theme song. But when those horns hit, amps
you up.
I love it, and I love the 80s pads. I just love how the music just hits for me. And of course, I love how they introduced Remo eating the sandwich in his police
He's
car.
just shoving this big sandwich in his mouth.
Listening to like,
you don't expect him to introduce the protagonist in such a way.
Radio broadcast about a sporting event or something, and it's like he's sitting there and he sees this guy run by, and he's like, all right, whatever, it's a single guy running by. But then he sees two other guys running after
chasing him.
And so he's like, oh man, I gotta go stop this. And of course he gets out, and he kind of handles one of the guys. He thinks he's rescuing the guy, but of course, when he is arresting the two guys that are chasing the first guy pounces on him.
Yeah, he's trying to save him. This guy comes up and surprise attacks him
with 2x4, and the whole debacle. He gets back in the car and he's escaping, and then this truck comes and pushes his car into the river.
It's a wild truck too. Like this thing comes along, you're like, what is this?
And of course, the next scene you see is a funeral,
like,
and you're like, whoa, okay,
this
is really fast. And of course, it's Samuel Edward Aiken is his name, and then he wakes up in a hospital, and you realize, oh, okay, so they faked his death. And of course, the guy comes in, and it says, all right, you got a new name, and he literally flips over a bedpan and gives him the name that's on the bottom of the bedpan. Remo Williams.
And that's when he's like, what did you do to my face?
What did you do to my face?
Gave him a little bit of plastic surgery to change what he looks like.
We've been recruited by a secret organization, Cure, and we're the people who got you by the balls, Remo.
Oh, my goodness.
Besides, we need you. Our cops are corrupt. Our judges bought. Our politicians up for sale. Everywhere you look, slime is on the loose. Oh, man. And he says, you'll be the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not get away with it. I love that line. And it's like, and it's just, you're the guys who set me up at the warehouse. And then he walks away. And of course, Remo tries to escape and he steals an ambulance. And then right there, Con McCleary is in the back. He's like, all right, he's got the gun pointed at him. All right, turn here. And of course, they take him to a bank, and he's like, what is this? What is the bank? It's like, this is where we're headquartered at. And of course, he goes in, and it's just, it's where he meets Harold Smith, which is Wilford Brimley, and he's the head of the organization. And he gives him this spiel. It's like, we got to guard and protect and cherish your land. You know, you're going to help remove the filth. And it's like, all right, how big is this organization?
Right.
It's just the three of us.
It's just the three of us.
Oh, my gosh. And so Con McCleary takes Remo on his first hit.
To kill somebody.
And he's like, don't take any chances with this guy. This guy's a killer. And remember, in and out like a duck mating. He enters and sees this elderly Asian dude, and he's like, speaking English? And turns out it's Chun, and of course he's like, I'm here to kill your boss. And it's like, I'm the only one here. And he's like, oh great, and this is the guy I gotta kill. And so he goes and he fires the gun at him, and of course Chun dodges the bullets. Oh, and I love the whole sequence, the fight sequence. It's so cheesy, and he's such a bumbling, just like all over the place. But Remo, he's got this tenacity. He keeps trying to go after him, and of course, he subdues him. He's on the floor, and McCleary comes back in.
Chun flicks all the bullets out of the gun.
Yeah, he takes the gun and he flicks all the bullets out of the gun. And then, of course, McCleary comes back in and says, all right, you think you could use him? And he's like, he's very slow. His reflexes are pitiful, poorly coordinated. He's in wretched physical condition, impetuous and clumsy, moves like a baboon with 2 club feet. However, there is a feeble glint of promise in his eye.
He likes his spirit, basically.
I think I could do something with him. And of course, the next scene we see is Remo and McCleary. They're walking, and he's taking them to like a warehouse. And he's like, they're at the thing, and he's like, all I can promise you is terror for breakfast, pressure for lunch, and aggravation for sleep. And he's like, Remo says, do I really have to live with them? Do I have to? And McCleary's like, he's not crazy about the idea. And he's like, he says you smell like hamburgers.
I love that line.
He's eating a hamburger. And he's like, oh man, if this is like another double cross, like you set me up, I'm gonna get you. And he does like the bang. He's like, I'm gonna get you for this. And he's like, we don't use the bang bang stuff. That's what your new pal Chun is going to teach you. And of course, Remo goes to stay with Chun. And as he's in there, of course, he's got this little cocky attitude. He's like, what is this guy? He's like, nothing, whatever. All right, I'm gonna train with him. He got me this time. And Chun tells him, all right, sit here and breathe. Just breathe. And he's like, he's not listening to him. And so Chun paralyzes him, and he's paralyzed. He's like, and he's like, it's just hilarious. And then he, of course, unparalyzes him. And then we watch He says, I can see the deadly hamburger has done its evil
Oh
work.
my goodness.
Chun is watching soap operas. And what is it? It's
Beyond the Night. You don't expect this out of the character because he's so serious.
Oh man! Of course, he opens the fridge and there's like nothing in there. There's nothing in there, and he gives him this fingerboard to train because he's got to train his fingers to be able to be a killer. And he's like, gives him a fingerboard. And he's like, no kill, truck kill, meat of cow kill. American assassins kill, like butchers. And then he starts going through the thing. He says, Masters of Sinanju, we have done this throughout history to restore balance. And he starts naming people. Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, Robin Hood, Louis the 13th, Napoleon. And it's like, these are all the people that they've assassinated. It's like, you make it sound like a public service. Assassination is the highest form of public service. And he says, put your hands behind your head. And then Chun hits him. I did not say to keep them there. Oh, man. Oh, do you know why Americans call it fast food? Because it speeds them on the way to the grave. And he's like, what are you watching?
Beyond the Night. It's a soap opera he enjoys.
Oh my gosh. And it's just like, I love how Remo just has him climbing random objects.
So many weird things he's just balancing on.
He's balancing, and I get the training. It's like it's the training montage, and he's climbing, and he's like on this balance beam, and then on a tub, and it's like he gets higher and higher and higher. And of course, Remo gets to the top, and he's like,
cocky and confident.
And Chun is not even paying attention. He's like cooking. He's like getting ready to like cook rice or something, and he's like, all right. He's like, every man is occasionally blessed with luck. That's what he says. Now down. He's like, and Remo's like, oh, down is easy. And then he turns out the lights. And he makes him do it in the dark. And of course, then we go to this military training camp where this gun explodes, and we see Major Rainer Fleming, who's portrayed by Kate Mulgrew. She takes this piece of evidence, and she's like, what's going on here? She's like, what's going on here? Because she's an observer for this new military technology, and she sees this thing explode. And of course, we go to Remo next. He is dangling from a Wonder Wheel, Ferris wheel. And it's like, what is this guy doing? And he's up there, and of course he comes down, and this is where we see the carnival bottle worker that we just saw. And of course he's like, hey, win something for your kid or whatever. And Chun, he literally every single one on a bottle, and he picks out a Pink Panther, and he says, just remember, I won it. He's mine. Oh, and this part where Chun is watching the soap opera, and he's got his legs straight out, and he's doing that finger thing where he's like holding himself up. I tried to do that so many times. Poor little Josh. And I was like, I can almost get it. That's like, no, I cannot almost get it. Ugh. And then Remo comes back from grocery shopping, and of course Chun tests him with bullets. He takes the gun out, and he shoots 2 bullets, and he says 2 bullets, and of course Remo actually dodges them, so he can see his training has come along. There. He's able to dodge bullets now, and Chun says 2 bullets is child play. When you can avoid 6 bullets, then you have accomplished something. And then he realizes after the shopping, there's no rice. You didn't bring back any rice. Go get some rice. So Chun, as Remo's like, all right, I'm gonna go get some rice. He takes the gun and he points the gun at him, and click. And Remo is unfazed, and he looks back and says, used the other 4 yesterday. And then he continues to walk, and then Chun fires off a round, and it ricochets off the handrail there. And Remo is like completely shocked, and he says, I reloaded. Oh, and then of course the beach training. This is one of my favorite parts. This is the part that I remember the most. Because he's on the beach, and it's like, so you see sand everywhere, and you see, for some reason, you see these piles of sand. There are these huge piles dunes of sand. Yes, there are piles of sand. And Remo Williams is literally diving into these piles of sand.
Like he's swimming through water.
And then he comes out of the top of one of them, and then he runs and jumps and dives into another. I thought as a kid, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Good thing you didn't try to emulate that.
As an adult, I'm going, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Oh, and of course he's running. He's running around. He's running. And Chun is saying, he's looking at him like kind of like in his own self, like talking to himself, saying, all right, come on, pick up your feet. And Remo is running and he's picking up his feet. And he says, float. And then you cut over to Remo, and as he's running, they show his feet, and he's not
leaving any new footprints.
Not leaving any footprints anymore. So he's literally floating. And that's when McCleary comes back and says, hey, when will we be ready? And of course, Chun says, ahead of time. When is when McCleary says, 15 years. 15 years. And he's like, I need him for something now. And then that's when we go to see back to Kate Mulgrew. She's got some documents. She's putting all this stuff together. And they're trying to, because they know that she's onto something.
Yes.
She's onto something. And with this movie, all growing up, I'll state this, all growing up, watching this movie, I must have watched this movie, I don't know, 4 or 5 dozen times. I never knew what the plot to this movie was.
Just the training parts for the important elements.
I remember the training montage parts, and of course him on the balancing thing, and Chun paralyzing him, and the fight scene between him and Chun, and the him hanging on the Ferris wheel. I remember all of this. But what I'm telling you now, I had no recollection.
What is the actual plot?
I had no recollection of any of this. And of course, they are the Cure, which is the organization he's been recruited to, have found that this senator or whatever, he has been stealing money from the American public by giving the American military low-grade weapons technology. And that's what it is. So Kate is onto this. She's like,
they want to cover it up, but she's like, trying to expose
Kate Mulgrew,
it.
her character is onto this. So she's got these documents, and they're like, all right, so Remo and his team, the Cure, they're like, all right, so we need to go kind of like, not really protect her, but like she's into this because we had a file that I had set for observation under surveillance, and she accessed it. So it's like, all right, she's onto something, so we need to go see what she's doing. So they go and they see that she has the files, and Remo's following her. And then, of course, the bad guys are taking pictures, and they see Remo and they see McCleary, and they're like, all right, we know who she is, and we know that she's causing us problems.
Who are these guys?
But who are these guys, and why are they kind of helping her? And so that's when they follow Remo. So it's like, all right, so Remo's there. He hails a cab for Kate Mulgrew's character, and Patrick Kilpatrick Stone, he's there, and then he's in the car, and he smiles, and you can see that he's got a diamond. They call him Tiffany, the Tiffany tooth guy, and so he's there, and he's getting ready to do something to Kate Mulgrew's character, and Remo steps in, and he kind of karates him, and he's got him in like a chokehold. And then that's when you see the photos of conspiracy, and they start with Remo, because they're like, all right, who is this guy? Because he was manhandling our guy Stone. We need to figure out who these guys are. So they start with Remo. They follow him. And Remo is still kind of in training. So Chun takes him to the Statue of Liberty, because the Statue of Liberty at this time is under like a refurbishment.
Like scaffolding,
so there's
all
scaffolding
around it.
everywhere. So this is like a perfect training place for him to go practice his climbing and his balance and stuff. So they take him to the Statue of Liberty, and he is there training. But of course, Stone is also there, and he hires 3 workers, apparently.
Yeah, these workers are going to just like
3 random
knock a guy off the Statue of Liberty, apparently. All of a sudden, they're like...
And he's like paying him in cash. All right, yeah, all right, thanks for this, buddy. We're going to take care of this. It's like, all right, where the heck did he find these workers that are just willing to...
Now we're going to kill a person, even though we're construction workers.
So he's up there, and they're fighting, and of course, Remo, he like gets away in a way that there's like a bag of tools that's like a human-sized bag, and they see the bag fall instead of Remo, and it hits the ground. So they assume, oh, that's Remo. He's dead. And of course, Remo is like there dangling, and he comes back to where the elevator is, where the guys are coming down, and he basically shows them the what. Like, he doesn't kill any of them, but he, like, it looks like he does.
Gives him a good working over.
He throws one guy out of the elevator because it's one of those scaffolding elevator that's just, like, open. It's just, like, got grating. And he throws him over, and it's like, oh, man, that guy's dead. And he, like, knocks the other guy out. And then the other
closes
guy...
One he closes
one of the door. Of course, like, it knocks him out somehow. Like, all right, cool, whatever. And then you see the guy dangling there, and then he gets to the bottom, and then Stone sees him, that he's getting away. And he's like, all right, I got to go after him. And so he sends his actual 2 guys that he didn't hire after Remo, and Stone tries to take off. And of course, he's there, and Remo is like, all right, these guys have a gun. They shoot at him. And Chun, this entire time, he's just kind of walking around the island, and he's like, he's like watching some kids fish. He's like looking over the water, and he's
not
walking,
concerned with anything
not
else.
concerned with anything at all. And he hears the gunshot, and he's like, oh no, there's trouble. And it's kind of like my spidey senses are tingling. So they don't show him rush off, but Remo is in trouble, and he's running away, and he sees the wet cement, and he's like, oh man, I gotta get through this. And he does his float thing, and he walks across the wet cement, just barely leaving footprints. And the guy who's chasing him runs and just falls right into the cement. And what's comical to me is how much cement were they pouring?
Like, how deep does this have to be?
And it gets me every time. Even as a kid, I was like, he fell in a lot of cement. He fell in a lot of cement. And of course, Remo's looking over the railing, and he sees Stone boating off, and he's like, oh man, he's kind of getting away. And there's a guy getting ready to, like, shoot Remo. Like, he's right there, like a couple 100 feet away, maybe less. And he's got his gun, and he's getting ready to shoot him. And then Chun shows up and does his little, and you hear the guy, and he, like, flies off screen. And then Remo looks back, and there's nobody there. And then he's like, all right, cool. And then what always gets me is they cut back to Chun walking away, and the guy, the assailant with the gun, he's laying there. But it's the way he's laying there with his leg. His leg is kind of like up on the wall, and he's face down. And it cracks me up every single time. It's hilarious. And of course, they go back to the bank, and they say, who's this guy with the Tiffany tooth and his Grove? And it's like, well, we can't do anything to embarrass the president. So it's all 3 of them, McCleary, Remo, and then Wilford Brimley's character. We can't do anything to embarrass the president. And the Cure, this organization, can't be known. So, like, what we would have to do is we would basically have to disappear. And the way they talk about disappearing is committing suicide. It's basically what it is. Wolfram Brimley has like a pill that he would take, and he was like, I'd have a massive coronary. And then McCleary's like, I would have an accident over here. And he's like, okay, well, what about me? I'm not just going to kill myself. He's like, well, Chun, your mentor, he would kill you. And of course, Remo goes back, and like Chun admits, yes,
I would have
to kill you. And that's insane. But they haven't got to that part yet. So they're trying to get info on this guy, Grove. So they infiltrate Grove Aerospace, him and McCleary. And this whole scene...
This is probably one of my favorite parts.
Whole scene, this is one of my favorite scenes too. But they get in this aerospace place, and they're walking around, and then these dogs show up.
Those dogs are tenacious.
These dogs, oh my gosh, had me dying. Because, of course, Remo's standing there, and the dogs come running, and then Remo ducks, and one comes lunging over him, and he's like, oh, man, I got to get out of here. And, of course, they've already separated him and McCleary, because McCleary's doing one thing and Remo's doing another. And he sees, like, all right, I got to climb up this thing. So he climbs up, he jumps up, and the dogs are down there, and he's like, man, what lesson was this, Chun? What, by evading dogs? Like, what am I supposed to do here? So he gets up, and he's on this catwalk. And of course, he's like, all right, you dumb dogs, like, come get me now. And the dogs, they're not dumb.
No, they're the smartest dogs.
They're the smartest dogs. They go to, like, steps. And the two
half of them do.
One of them goes to steps, and the other 2 go to where there's a ladder. It's like
a retractable ladder
that comes down, and the one jumps up first, and he's
clamps
holding
with his mouth.
and then the other one jumps up, and it's the
enough
combined
weight to pull it down, and then they go up.
They go up, and he's like, oh man, what is going on here? And he crawls up some more, and he's up at the top, and then he's like, all right, I gotta close this gate, and then he's like, oh man, he's getting ready to climb up onto the roof, and just before the dogs show up at the roof, the dogs are already up there, and he's like, what is happening? And then he's like stuck on the ledge, and he's like got his back against the window, and he's standing there. And he looks down, and there's like either a rat. It's a rat that's there. There's a rat that climbs up into his.
I forgot about the rat.
He climbs up in to his pants, and he falls back. And when he falls back, he lands. He's in a warehouse, of course. And the rat, he's like, all right, the rat comes out. But then he sees this thing. It's like this array that's inside this building. It's very intricate. There's like an umbrella looking like satellite dish on one end with like these weird looking panels.
It's very futuristic.
It's very futuristic. And he's seeing this and he's like, I mean, I kind of don't know what it is. And he looks around and he sees a camera, and the camera turns and then fires a laser and blows up this array looking thing. And he's like, oh great, I got to get out of here. So he gets out and he's running. And when he gets outside, he's on the roof. And he's got to walk across this tightrope because the dogs are still chasing him. And he walks across the tightrope, and he looks back at the dog and see if you can do that or something like that. Oh my gosh. And the dog walks across.
We're with you, bro.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And of course, they're escaping, and McCleary gets shot, and he says, got to get this to Smith. And it's one of those. Remo's upset. He's like, he's back at the base. He's talking to, the other guy. And he's like, you telling me McCleary gave his life and we can't stop this guy Grove? And he says, you can stop him, son. But it's got to look like an accident.
It's got to look like an accident.
So from there, we go to the Mount Promise Proving Grounds. And this is where they're testing all the weapons. This is where they were testing the machine gun. This is where everything is happening. So Remo infiltrates this place, and he's there. He's under a truck, and he lets go. And, of course, Kate Mulgrew sees him. Her character sees him. And she's like, you again? Like, what are you doing here? And she assumes that he's a bad guy. But he's like, no. He doesn't say anything. He's like, you must be Army intelligence. And he's not saying a word. He's letting her talk. And she is convinced that he's Army intelligence. So he's like, yeah, that's me. I'm Army intelligence. Yeah. And of course, the bad guy sees the both of them and is like, "Oh, great! Now they're both here." They walk inside and they're being led around. And of course, the bad guy Grove leads them into a chamber that's a gas chamber. And it's like, this is just comical to me. Like, okay, there's a gas chamber in there, but like, why is there a gas chamber in there? And it's got this big, huge plexiglass viewing
to watch them gas
them. So they're trapped in this chamber, and of course, Stone is on the other side of the glass because they're like, we're gonna make this look like an accident. That's what Grove says. And they're in the chamber, and of course, the gas is getting pumped in. They're trapped.
She passes out almost immediately.
And Remo, it takes him a while, and he like falls to the ground, but he still has his wits about him. And then Grove puts on a gas mask to go in to finish him off. And as he's in there, he actually fights him. Remo fights Stone, and he pulls the gas mask off, and he slams his face against the glass.
It's one of my favorite parts.
And he uses the diamond in his tooth to create an X in the glass. And of course, he lets go of him, and Stone scrambles for the gas mask because he's gasping for oxygen. He puts the gas mask on, and Remo, with his fingers, right into his eye. Ouch. Oh my gosh. And then he runs headfirst into the glass to escape. And of course,
through the glass.
Of course, they cut to Grove and his like associates in another room, and an assistant comes around. There's been a serious incident. And Grove is like, oh, tell us. It's so terrible. What happened? And it says, one of your assistants, Mr. Grove. So it's not the news he was expecting. And oh my gosh. And of course they escape and they're outside, and Remo is like, well, if we got to get them, but let us do this my way, he says. You got to do this my way. And they're walking outside and they're eating berries. There's like blueberry plants or whatever out there.
Stop for some berries.
They're just eating berries. And the line that Remo says, he says, "I haven't eaten this good in weeks."
Chun just got rice for
He's
him.
only got rice for him. It is hilarious because the entire movie, that's all he's been eating is rice.
Misses his
And
hamburgers.
it's funny because earlier in the scene, in the movie, he says, well, if you do something, Chun says something like, well, if you do good in your training tomorrow, I'll add a spoon of honey on your rice. So he's starving. He's like, man, I haven't eaten this good in weeks. And of course, Chun shows up and he's like, Remo's like, all right, I hear something over there. And Chun like basically throws him and he's like, you're here to kill me. And he's like, no, I'm here to make sure that you don't bring shame to us. And of course, they steal a truck. The brakes don't work because the guys are working.
They're going downhill at high speed.
And then the truck, it basically runs off the side of the road. And Remo and Fleming, they jump out, but Chun doesn't jump out. And the truck falls down the side of a cliff. They're like, oh my gosh. So he runs down there, and it's the mangled truck. And he opens the door where he is. And when he opens the door, Chun is literally sitting there with the handle still in his hand. He's just like straight faced. In Korea, door handles don't break.
Oh my.
It's the dumbest thing, and it's fantastic at the same time. Of course, Remo goes off to finish the mission, and they're still tracking him. And of course, Grove and his group, the general, they're in a Jeep, and they're asking for coordinates because they're like, where is he? Because they're tracking him by his heat signature. And then, like, he falls, and he's like, there's like mortars firing off around him. And he jumps on a log, and somehow this log is being dragged off the side of a mountain, and it's being suspended on a wire. Like, why is this happening in this area? Like, I guess I shouldn't question it. I don't know. Maybe they're using it for target practice or whatever. But
they certainly do it this time.
This tree trunk is being let down on a steel cable of, I guess, some kind. And they say, we're still tracking him, but he's 50 feet in the air. That's what they say. And then, of course, the general or Grove says, all right, stop the radio chatter and give us directions. And the person on the other side of the line says, you're proceeding in a northerly direction. And the response is, not us, you jackass, the target. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. And of course, Remo gets shot at while he's hanging from the log, and he strategically makes the log drop on another pile of logs, which in turn rolls down the hill, which in turn knocks the Jeep that the Grove and the general are riding in, and the Jeep falls off and tumbles off the road. And Remo, he goes and to check the wreckage. He goes to check the wreckage to make sure the job is done, because it's got to look like an accident. So he goes to check, and while he's there, of course, Grove is still alive. Like, how he survived this crash, who knows?
Because he's not like an agent like him or anything.
He's got like a little scratch, I think, like on his face. He looks a little disheveled, but it's like, dude, you just survived all these logs destroying your Jeep and going. And so he pulls out a gun, and of course Remo's there, and he's like doing his like little like, oh, he's kind of looking like Chun there for a second. It's like, okay, he's doing his thing, and he fires off a round, and he dodges it, and he fires off another round, and he's getting closer and closer and closer, and he gets to Grove, and he handles the gun just like in the beginning of the movie where Remo is trying to assassinate Chun, and he takes the magazine out of the bottom of the gun, and he pops all the bullets. Yep. And it's the full circle. And then Remo, of course, takes and throws him over the Jeep. But before that, Grove says, who are you? Who are you? And he throws him over the wreckage like a rag doll. And as he's walking away, he says, Remo Williams. Remo. And as he's walking away, he grabs a branch right there from a bush, and he starts to rub it between his fingers. And it catches fire. I love it. It catches fire. And of course, he drops it on the ground where there's a pile of gasoline or some fuel, and the truck or the Jeep blows up and catches on fire. And as he's walking away, he's walking to where they're supposed to meet on the dock. And he gets there, and Fleming is there. Kate Mulgrew's character is there. And he says, well, where's Chun? It's like, well, he went to go look for you. And as they say that, a mass of troops arrive on trucks and stuff. And you can see there, to get the assailant, but be careful with Fleming because she's one of ours. She's a friendly, so make sure you don't harm her. And, of course, Chun is walking up, and he's on the embankment. He's there on the shore. And they're all way on the dock. And Chun is looking around, and he's like, come on. And then Chun proceeds to make a beeline straight for the edge of the pier, and he walks on water. He walks on water right across, right to the dock. And as he gets there and he stops, he says, you must run very fast. And then they're on the boat, and they're off, and it's like they're there, the boat's off, and he says, Chun says, faster, or Jesus says, faster. And Remo says, sometimes, Chun, you're a real pain in the ass. And he says, that's because it's the shortest route to your brain. We must hurry. And then Remo says, what's the rush? And his response, we must return in time to see if Jim is truly going to walk
from the
soap opera. And then Remo says, what? Or, and this is Chun continues, or has the doctor merely told him so because he hopes to get a new wing for the hospital from his stepmother? And then Remo says, oh my gosh, Chun, you're incredible. And Chun's response, no, I am better than that. Oh my gosh, this movie, again, I did not know the plot line of this movie all growing up. I did not know that it had anything to do with bad weapons manufacturing or a crooked politician. And when we were doing the research for this movie, because I had picked this movie, I watched the trailer. For this because it's on, you can find them online. I watched the trailer, and I remember, I think I was showing my brother the trailer. And I was like, yeah, man, we're doing this movie, Remo Williams. And he's like, I don't remember that movie. And I pulled up the trailer to show him because I hadn't watched it either. And I'm watching the trailer, and I'm going, this isn't the movie that I remember. because I did not remember that the organization was called Cure. I remembered him meeting in the bank and like the whole like, oh, we gotta do this thing. And I remember him training with Chun, and I remember him going to the army base and like, all right, I gotta do this thing. And I always just thought like, all right, that was his assignment. He's got to go assassinate this guy, but that was like his final assignment. But then as I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I don't know this movie.
I don't know.
I don't know this movie. Oh, it's so great.
You remember all those key training moments?
I remember all the
super agent
stuff.
Oh
my gosh, I remember all of the training moments with Chun. I remember the Ferris wheel. I remember the beach. I remember him climbing up the stuff. I remember all of that so vividly. And I remember what I was telling my brother. I was like, yeah, it's a guy. He's like training with the Asian guy, and he's like an assassin. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, I don't remember this politician guy. I don't remember this other character. I don't remember this girl. And it just shows like how we remember movies differently, especially as kids.
And this is one that I hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. You introduced it to me, and I told you I've heard of it, but I've never watched it before. And I have to say, the first time I watched it, I was confused a little bit because it's kind of wild. There's a lot of stuff that's happening.
Wild.
And I wasn't 100% sure what was going on in a lot of the elements either. And I just watched it.
Yep.
And it was like, I'm not sure if I like this movie or not. and then as I watched it a couple more times to get ready for the show, I'm just like, all right, I appreciate these. There's some ridiculous stuff happening in here, and it's not essentially about the plot's not the great element of it.
It's not at all.
It's the ridiculous training.
It is.
It's the ridiculous feats that he accomplishes.
Yep.
It's Chun's one-liners and digs that he makes at Remo, and and his hubris. Like Chun's like super confident in himself, you
Yep.
know, and he makes fun of Remo. You know, he's got 15 years, you know,
Yep.
before he gets to where he needs
Gets
to
you
be.
where he needs to be. Yes, he's
all
like, I
that
think I
stuff,
could do
and-
it soon in 15 years.
But the first time through, I don't think I necessarily understood the whole
my
plot either. It
gosh,
was just more like, what is happening?
This movie, I do have to say, like watching it as an adult, it's pretty bad. Like I understand why it didn't do so well because it is pretty bad.
If I only gave it the one watch, I
Yes.
don't think I would appreciate it, because after watching it 2 or 3 more times, it was one of those things where it's like, well, that's a ridiculous part,
Yes.
and this is a ridiculous part, and I mean ridiculous in a great way.
Yes.
It's like, this is so ridiculous, it's awesome.
And I do have to say, like, even though I as an adult, I have to say that this movie's bad, I still love it. It is so good. It is so good. And I just, if you are on the fence about watching this movie, just watch it. It is like, it's bad and it's good at the same time. And like I remember when you were watching this, you were like, oh my gosh, the 80s sound effects when they're fighting at
I
the
love
beginning.
the 80s punch sounds and stuff like that.
amazing.
It's
It's
so
so good.
ridiculous.
All right, let's go into our favorite characters. Of course, yours was...
I picked Remo.
I
mean,
love
Chun's
them.
great too.
I love them both.
Chun.
I love them both. I love them both because the one couldn't shine unless the other one was there. That's 100% what it is. And it's just like Remo is in his best comedic elements most of the time when Chun is around, and it's vice versa. The duo that they create, the chemistry between them, I guess you could say, to me is just fantastic. I love it. And of course, our favorite actors, yours was...
I picked Fred Ward.
Fred Ward, he's phenomenal. And I loved Joel Grey. And the reason why I say I love Joel Grey, because I didn't know for the longest time that wasn't an Asian actor playing that. It wasn't until, like, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago that I was like, I saw him in Joel Grey in another show. He was in an episode of Star Trek Voyager, I believe. And he's in there, and I saw him, and I was like, this guy kind of looks familiar, like some of his mannerisms or whatever. And I did, like, some research on the character, and I was like, this guy was in Remo Williams? Who was he in Remo Williams? And then, it, like, mind blown. Like, he was Chun.
They made him up to
and
look like
and
him.
I was a little upset at first. I was like...
It's kind of like Short Circuit when we
Yes,
discovered that the one fellow
the
was,
guy's
you know,
not really
an
Indian, and it was like
character.
it was upsetting at first, and then like when I watched the movie, I was like, I can't be upset because it's of course it's Hollywood.
It's a different
Hollywood.
time.
You're playing a character. Like there are so many people who play characters that's not who they really even are. It's like you have somebody who's one religion playing someone who's completely different religion, or somebody who's like one stereotype, and that's not who they are at all. So like rewatching this, and to know that he was up for so many awards because of his acting and plus the makeup, like it just it brings me satisfaction that that's what happened. So I love that that's what happened. And of course, I mean, you know, Chun as a character, like how crazy would it be to have like some kind of camp with that guy?
Oh my goodness. He train people and see what happens, and it's like summer camp with Chun. Like, come on, that's a little crazy, Josh.
Summer camp with Chun.
When I signed up for this, I didn't think it was going to be this hard.
Johnny didn't make it. Neither did Michael.
Wait, what? What does that even mean?
I heard we can't go back.
Wait, what?
I mean, I heard they faked our deaths.
What? Our families think we're dead? Carrie, I can't go on just eating a single ball of rice every single day. I can't, Carrie.
Get a hold of yourself, man. They're training us to be elite killing machines. The best in the world. We'll be able to scale buildings at heights unimaginable. Untethered, unrestrained, unharnessed. We'll be light as air. Able to walk across the still wet, moist cement that this foundation is built upon. Called into action at a moment's notice. Able to infiltrate, permeate, pervade the most clandestine operation any foreign adversary could devise. We will be the 11th...
Summer camp with Chun.
Well, that didn't go quite as expected.
I don't think that that's a safe summer camp to
That's not
go
a safe
to.
summer camp at all. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. Well, we thank you guys for watching us. Another episode of an hour feature presentation where we don't just love movies from the 80s and 90s. We live them. I'm Josh Sanchez, and this is Remo Williams. And we would like to say goodbye to you guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys.